imagine like finding yourself on this remote volcanic island, right? And the people there, they believe that an American World War II soldier, he holds the key to like a brighter future. Awesome.
Oh.
Wild, right? Well, that's the reality, Antenna. And today we're diving deep into this whole world, the fascinating world of John Frum and the cargo cults of Vanuatu.
Yeah, it's not just some, quirky historical footnote though, right? This story, it makes us really question like the nature of belief, especially when we're talking about societies that have gone through these massive upheavals.
Okay, so let's like set the stage. We're talking about World War II, right?
Right.
The island of Tanna, it's part of what was then the New Hebrides,
Mm.
under joint British and French rule at that time.
Right, right.
And then, boom, American troops show up. And suddenly, the islanders are seeing this, like, abundance, right?
Yeah.
Goods and technology, unlike anything they'd ever experienced before.
Yeah, it was a complete shock to the system, right? Imagine just living your entire life with a certain set of resources, a certain worldview, and then bam, airplanes are descending from the sky.
It's like something out of a movie almost.
Totally. And they're bringing with them this overwhelming amount of cargo, right? We're talking food, medicine, tools, things that these people had never even, like, dreamed of.
Yeah, it's almost understandable how that could feel, like, supernatural.
Absolutely. And that's crucial, I think, to understanding how these figures like John Frum emerge. He embodies this hope, this yearning for a world where those resources are just like readily available and where their traditional way of life, their custom is respected.
So who exactly is John Frum?
Well, that's the thing. The details, they get a bit blurry. And that's part of what makes this whole thing so fascinating. He's often described as an American serviceman, right? Promising a return to those traditional ways and a future just like overflowing with this cargo.
Right.
But was he like a real person?
Yeah, was he like an actual dude?
Or a symbol, something born from this collective desire for change?
So there are different, like, origin stories out there. I read somewhere that some people say he was like a native man, but like dressed in Western clothing, kind of spreading his message that way.
Mm-hmm.
Others think he was more of like a spirit,
Yeah.
like a vision promising this new age of abundance.
Exactly. And this is where the John Frum movement, it draws upon these existing religious beliefs, right?
Right.
They have this deity, Karaparaman, who's associated with the island's volcano, Mount Tukosmera.
Okay.
And some believe that John Frum was like a manifestation of this god.
Oh, wow.
So it blurs the lines even further, right, between the familiar and this radically different future they're being presented with.
Yeah, it's like this fusion of old and new in a way.
Yeah.
Like their traditional beliefs mixed with these powerful images from the outside world.
That's what makes it so compelling. It speaks to this universal human desire. We want to feel in control, especially when it seems like the whole world is being turned upside down. And these weren't just, passive hopes for a better future. The John Frum movement, it fueled action.
Okay, so what kind of action are we talking about? Believing in John Frum, what did that lead people to actually do?
Well, they started performing rituals, ceremonies, almost like they were trying to like summon his return, usher in this era of prosperity. They even built these airstrips and control towers mirroring what they'd observed the American soldiers doing.
Well, hold on. They built actual airstrips.
Well, symbolic ones, of course, not functional for like landing planes or anything.
Right.
But the effort, the attention to detail, it speaks volumes about like the depth of their belief.
That's wild. So it wasn't just a spiritual movement then?
No.
Did they try to like enact political change too?
You're spot on. They formed their own political party, actually, the Nagarimo, led by Chief Isaac Juan Nikio.
Okay.
And he considered John Frum to be this divine figure, right? And the party, they advocated for preserving their cultural identity, which they saw as being under threat from colonial rule.
So by the time World War II ends and the Americans are leaving this belief in John Frum, it's deeply intertwined with this desire for self-determination,
right,
for agency over their own lives, their own island.
That's exactly right. And this is where the story takes, even more of an intriguing turn. You see, when the war ended and the Americans left, the John Frum movement, it didn't just fade away as you might expect.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing that's where we're headed next. What happened after after the cargo stopped showing up. So the Americans, they pack up, the cargo dries up, but the belief in John Frum, oh, that just sticks around. You've got to tell me more about that.
It is remarkable, isn't it? Like, think about it. The actual physical stuff, the cargo, it's gone.
Right.
But what remains? This powerful idea, the promise of that better future, a future they believe they can like actually shape. That's incredibly powerful stuff.
It's almost like the idea itself became, I don't know, more important
Yeah.
than the actual like physical things they were hoping for.
Yeah, yeah, I think you could definitely argue that. And this is where things get really interesting, I think, like the psychological and sociological aspects of the whole movement. Because for these people, they're living under colonial rule. They've been, stripped of their traditional ways, their autonomy.
Right.
John Frum, he represents this return, a return to a time when they were in control.
Right. Right. We talked about that earlier, this fusion of old and new. It wasn't just about like getting more stuff.
No, no, not at all.
It was about getting back to their
Yeah.
custom, their own way of life.
Exactly. John Frum, whether he was, a real person or a symbol, he becomes this incredibly powerful focal point for this desire for self-determination. And remember, this is all happening during this time of like immense global upheaval.
Oh yeah, for sure.
World War II, it upended everything.
So in a world that's like gone mad, John Frum represents like stability,
Yeah.
a return to something they understand, something they can actually control.
That's a really insightful way to put it, actually. It's this yearning for agency in a world that's seemingly determined to deny them that very thing. And this desire for self-determination, it doesn't just disappear when the war ends.
Okay, so they have this belief system, this deep like desire for agency. How does that actually play out after the war is over? Do they try to like make John Frum's promised world? Do they try to make that a reality?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. Remember the Nagaramo political party we talked about?
Yeah, yeah.
They become deeply involved in Vanuatu's struggle for independence, which finally happens in 1980.
Hold on. Are you saying that the John Frum movement was like actually part of a real world independence movement?
Oh, absolutely. It was more than just, a religious movement at that point. It was a force for social and political change. They even resisted Vanuatu's unification as an independent nation, at least initially. Yeah, they were afraid that a centralized government would, sort of erode their cultural autonomy.
Wow. Okay, so John Frum goes from this almost mythical figure to a symbol that's like woven into the fabric of their fight for independence. That's incredible. But what about today? Does the movement still have the same kind of power? Surely people have a more, I don't know, nuanced view now,
Yeah,
right?
that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The John Frum movement today is this complex, evolving thing, and while belief in his imminent return might not be as widespread, the movement's impact
Got it.
on their culture, their political landscape, it's undeniable.
So how has the movement like adapted? What does it even look like in the 21st century?
Well, for one thing, there's been some splintering, within the movement itself. Different interpretations of John Frum's message have popped up. Different ideas about how to actually achieve that promised prosperity. It's like any belief system that's been around for a while. There are going to be different branches, different interpretations.
That's ancients, basically.
Exactly. And of course you can't discount the impact of the outside world, right?
Right.
Globalization, the internet, the people of Tana, they're far more connected to the world beyond their island than ever before.
So they're seeing that maybe those cargo planes, they're not like the be all and end all.
Yeah.
That there are other ways to, I don't know, achieve prosperity, other ways to engage with the rest of the world.
It's a fascinating dynamic, right? Because on the one hand, there's this greater awareness. Some people might question the whole narrative of John Frum as this American serviceman who's going to come back with cargo, but on the other hand, the core values of the movement, the self-reliance, the cultural pride, the desire for something better, those remain incredibly strong.
I imagine those values resonate even more strongly now, in a world that's grappling with things like climate change, economic inequality.
You're hitting on something really crucial there. The John Frum movement, at its core, it's about more than just like accumulating stuff. It's
Yeah.
about community, it's about self-determination, it's about this connection to something larger than yourself. Those are timeless human needs.
It does make you wonder, though, what does John Frum himself, what does he represent to these different factions now? Has the image of him changed at all over time?
That's a question worth exploring further, I think, because while some might cling to that image of the American serviceman, others they see him as a symbol of something more internal, something more aligned with their traditional beliefs and values.
So the image has like evolved. He's become more than just this cargo bringing messiah.
Precisely, he's become the symbol of their enduring hope, their hope for a better tomorrow.
I'm guessing those hopes manifest in some pretty fascinating ways.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the annual celebration of John Frum Day.
Mhm.
What, can you tell me about that? Okay, so like paint me a picture here. It's John Frum Day on Tana. What's going on? What am I seeing? What am I hearing?
Oh, get ready for a real sensory experience. It's February 15th. The villages, they just come alive with activity. You've got men marching in formation. Their faces are painted red, and they're wearing these incredibly detailed like makeshift uniforms. Some
Wow.
of them even carry these bamboo rifles that are like adorned with the letters USA. It's really striking, this visual reminder of those early encounters with the American troops.
You mentioned this before. This whole like blending of symbolism. It's almost like they're taking these images from this other world, this outside world, and they're sort of repurposing them, like giving them their own unique meaning.
Exactly. It's a fascinating example of like cultural adaptation in action. And it's not just the uniforms. You'll see red crosses all over the villages too,
Oh,
symbolizing the aid, the prosperity that they associate with John Frum. And then there's the John Frum Navy.
a navy. Are we talking like actual ships here?
Well, not quite. Think more like canoes, but not just any canoes, right?
Yeah,
These are meticulously crafted, often painted to resemble like American warships. They're this powerful symbol of strength and the potential for that brighter future.
wow. That's quite a spectacle, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But beyond like the visual, what's the deeper meaning of these John Frum Day celebrations? What are they hoping to achieve?
Well, on one level, it's about reinforcing their collective identity, their unity as a group. It's a way of saying we are the John Frum followers, and we believe in this vision of a better tomorrow.
It's like a powerful statement, especially after, decades of being under colonial rule, like a way of reclaiming their own story.
Precisely. And remember those symbolic airstrips we talked about.
Yeah.
Some people, they actually believe that by maintaining those, by holding these parades, they're actively preparing for John Frum's return.
Oh, wow.
It's not just, passive hope. It's about taking action, even if it's, symbolic action.
Right, like they're sending out this signal like, "Hey, John Frum, we're ready for you. Come on back." I love that. But it's not just about, the cargo and the prosperity, right? We talked earlier about Castom, the importance of their traditional way of life.
You're absolutely right. It's much bigger than just, material goods. The John Frum movement also emphasizes this return to traditional values, things like respect for elders,
Yeah.
communal living, this deep connection to the land. They see John Frum as this symbol of restoring balance,
Yeah.
not just bringing them the latest, gadgets.
So it's about well-being, social harmony, things that are, I mean, it may be even harder to achieve than just, like a refrigerator full of food.
You could definitely say that. It's this holistic vision, right? It encompasses the material A and D, the spiritual. And that's what's so fascinating about the John Frum movement. I think it's this powerful reminder that belief, it can be this incredibly potent force, even when it challenges our conventional understanding of how the world works.
Absolutely. We tend to think about cargo cults as this strange, almost quaint phenomenon. But the reality is so much more nuanced than that. It's about agency, it's about identity, and it's about this deep human need to believe in something better, even when the path forward is totally uncertain.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The John Frum story, it really forces us to grapple with some big questions, right?
Yeah.
About the nature of belief, the legacies of colonialism, and what it really means to hope for a better future.
It does. This has been a truly thought-provoking deep dive. And to our listeners, if the story of John Frum has piqued your curiosity, we encourage you to explore further. Who knows what other fascinating corners of belief and culture are out there just waiting to be discovered.